We've discussed imposter syndrome and the negative effects that a lack of confidence can have. But what about when overconfidence and ignorance, which we all have, creep into our day-to-day? In this video, I'm talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect and how it can impact our confidence and artistic life. Howdy everyone, I'm John Kenific, sometimes known as Old Man New Art, and welcome to my channel where we focus on your confidence, creativity, and career. The Dunning-Kruger effect has been expertly covered on many YouTube channels over many years, so there's nothing new to add in a general sense. So I'm going to talk specifically about how it can affect your artistic goals. Artists, often seen as naturally gifted and intuitive, face numerous psychological hurdles on their path to success. One significant obstacle is the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is a cognitive bias identified by psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger in 1999. This phenomenon describes how individuals with low ability at a task overestimate their competence, while those with the high ability tend to underestimate theirs. Here, David Dunning breaks it down in even simpler terms.
By the cruelest irony, that turns out to be something that we are ignorant of as well. We don't know the times that we walk off the solid ground of our knowledge into the thin air of things we don't know. Often we may find ourselves acting out of ignorance more than knowledge and not know the fact because we don't know the boundary line between what we know and what we don't know. We don't know the limits of our knowledge. Ignorance often refuses, or rather can't, recognize itself.
For artists, this ignorance can undermine our growth, creativity, and career. So let's explore how this effect manifests in our art and how we can catch it before it becomes a problem. But before we do, it would be a huge help to my channel if you could subscribe, like, and comment. It's very appreciated, and I love reading your feedback. So we'll start with a look at overconfidence and stagnation. At the onset of an artist's career, the Dunning-Kruger effect can lead to overconfidence. Novice artists might believe that they have mastered their craft after a few successes or positive feedback. For instance, a painter who receives praise at a local exhibition might conclude that they have nothing to learn. This inflated self-assessment can result in a reluctance to seek further education, mentorship, or constructive criticism, leading to a repetitive style or a lack of growth. And this very thing happened to a friend of mine. His name was, it was me. Okay, it was me. And I remember many years back, I entered a local art show where I won one of the top prizes. And I was very happy and humbled to have won the award. And when the same show opened for submissions the following year, I entered with a different style, thinking that it was very good within the context of me being new to it. Admirable, right? Well, my piece wasn't even accepted into the show, which was humbling in a different way. What happened was that although it was good by my standards relative to my never working in this style before, it was, in a broader sense, not the best representation of that style to the rest of the world. Lesson learned. So you're asking yourself, how do we avoid being John Kenific? Good question. Well, it's essential to seek feedback continuously. Joining an art critique group where peers provide regular, honest feedback is a good place to start. Now, if I'd done that back then, I could have presented my new work and received diverse perspectives, which would help me identify areas of improvement and new techniques to explore. Which brings us to resistance to feedback. Now, feedback is crucial for artistic development. We all know that. However, the Dunning-Kruger effect can cause us to misinterpret or dismiss constructive criticism. An artist confident in their abilities might view feedback as unnecessary or even offensive. For example, a sculptor may ignore suggestions on refining their technique, believing that their work is already perfect. And this resistance prevents growth and limits artistic potential. So we need to embrace constructive criticism. And I know I say this in a lot of my videos, but I mean embrace. And it's not enough to hear the words and to tentatively address it in your work. If someone takes the time to truly help you, it's a gift. And it's a gift that not every artist has access to, so really listen. Actively seek out mentors or more experienced artists to review your work. Let's say a digital artist reaches out to a renowned illustrator for mentorship. By incorporating the mentor's feedback, this artist refines their techniques and explores new styles, leading to significant improvement in their work. And as a side note, if you're in the position of giving feedback to someone lucky enough to get your input, be as honest as you can. And remember, honesty and bluntness are two different things, and constructive criticism shouldn't sting. The interesting thing is that on the other side of Dunning-Kruger, we find the exact opposite of low competency transforming itself into overconfidence. We also see that artists possessing a high skill level may suffer from imposter syndrome, intense self-doubt, and a sense of inadequacy despite their evident success. I think this side of the Dunning-Kruger effect can start off sabotaging us, but when we get a hold of it, it can make us 10 times the artists we were. Let me explain. Now, with my early example of me thinking that if I won a competition once, I would no doubt do it again, rings of overconfidence. But looking back, mixed in with that is ignorance more than anything else, especially because I was an artist working in a vacuum like more and more of us are doing today. I tried a style that I wasn't initially comfortable with, and I produced results, good results, but only in the context, again, of my development, not in what mastery of that style looked like to the rest of the world. Okay, so then we move along, mature, and after a while, you're much stronger in that style, and you're not as impressed with your results because you know more. And then you start looking at others and you see what can be done because you can more appreciate the work that goes into it. And if we stop there, we're good, perfect. We can be inspired, find a healthy place in our development, but we sometimes make a beeline right to being intimidated and frozen into thinking our work doesn't hold up. So what can we do to build self-compassion and confidence? One good thing to do is to keep a journal or a file of achievements and positive feedback. Let's say you're an established ceramic artist who starts a journal where you record each accomplishment and every piece of positive feedback you receive. Reflecting on these entries can help you combat self-doubt and appreciate your growth. I ultimately found this very helpful. However, for the longest time, I used to ironically keep rejection letters and negative comments to build my determination, empowerment, FU attitude, whatever you want to call it, to make me stronger, resilient, and more determined. I did that for decades, and I think that it can help depending on your personality. But over time, I got rid of all those reminders of my inadequacies and found more of a boost in spending time reviewing my successes. So is there a way not to fall prey to the Dunning-Kruger effect? And I would say awareness, self-awareness, is your most powerful ally in mitigating the impact of Dunning-Kruger. Recognizing that overconfidence and self-doubt are all part of the same process that help artists. The emotions that we put into our work come from somewhere, right? Now, between this overconfidence and vulnerability are where we find a range of emotions where our creativity comes from. So they are important to feel, but of course not at the cost of our mental well-being. Again, as we talk about all the time, continuous learning, networking, collaboration with other artists, setting realistic goals, and self-reflection all go a long way into finding this balance. The Dunning-Kruger effect does present unique challenges to artists, from overconfidence leading to stagnation to imposter syndrome causing paralyzing self-doubt. It's a wild ride. However, through self-awareness, openness to feedback, and continuous learning, artists can overcome these psychological barriers. So that's it for today. And before I go, I want to leave you with the words of Mr. Evolution, Charles Darwin, who said, "Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. It's those who know little, not those who know much, who so positively assert that this or that problem will never be solved by science." Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.